Folks, supers in fighting games have a multitude of different uses. You can use them to extend your combos and add damage. You can use them to punish your opponent's attacks that they're trying to throw at you. And you can use them to power up your character and make them stronger. But the supers that I want to talk to you guys about today don't do these things. Instead, what they actually do is make your character worse. These are supers that you have to spend meter for. But instead of helping you and improving your character, they actually actively harm you and make you more likely to lose. So today, that's what we're going to be looking into. And in particular, we're going to be focusing on the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Because when I was investigating this topic, I found that the Versus series has quite a few more of these supers than you might think. And guys, if you like this video topic and you'd like to see me do more videos like this, please hit the like button. It seriously helps me out. If you can just take 1 second right now to do it, it makes a huge difference and gets the video shown to more people. And let me know down in the comments what other games you think I should do videos like this for in addition to the Versus games. But with that, let's jump in and start talking about some self-sabotaging supers that you should maybe avoid using in the future. Alright, so first up, I want to talk about Silver Samurai in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So Silver Samurai, he is a decent character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He has a mix of strengths and weaknesses, but one of his biggest strengths is this super right here, his lightning super. This super is highly damaging. It hits pretty much everywhere on the screen. And one of the really nice things about this is if your opponent calls in an assist, you can punish the assist for a huge amount of damage by doing this super and mashing on all the buttons to get extra hits. You can see I did like 50% of his assist life bar just with a level 1 super. So that super is really good. So right off the bat, you should think to yourself, I should be saving most of my meter to use on this super. So that's one disadvantage already for Silver Samurai's other supers. But let's talk about his other supers. So Silver Samurai, he has a series of power-up supers that are tied to different elements. So he has a lightning power-up, he has an ice power-up, and he has a fire power-up. Each of these power-up supers costs 1 meter, and you can stack them up to 3 times, and they do get more powerful the more you stack them. But the problem is, you can see stacking them like barely increases the timer at all. You're like gaining very little by doing this. And are you really going to spend 3 meters just to power your character up? So already the fact that you're spending so much meter so that you can do less of his actual good super, that's a problem. But some of these supers are less like a power up and more like a power down. So we'll get into that. So his ice super, probably the best one. The main thing that this does is he now takes significantly less damage when he's in this. So you can see this super does not do that much damage to me when I'm in ice mode. Here it is outside of ice mode for comparison. You can see it did massively more damage. He actually takes about half damage when he's in ice mode. So that's pretty good. But there are a couple problems with ice mode. He loses access to his lightning super. Now he has this ice super, which is like okay, but you can see he has to do this leap forward animation, so it's very slow to come out. You do get a free combo afterwards, but I don't really know if it's worth it considering you're never really going to be able to combo into this ice super off of anything. Like none of that really combos. So yeah, not ideal to lose access to your best super in exchange for a meter. But overall, you know, if the ice one was the only power up he had, he probably wouldn't be in this video because it's not that bad. The lightning one is also not horrible, but let's be honest, it's not good. The main thing that this changes is it increases the speed of his projectiles pretty drastically, but it also reduces the number of hits that the projectiles do. So all of a sudden, you know, they do less chip damage. These are very highly chipping moves normally, but if you're powered up, they do like basically no chip. So it's kind of a side grade. It's an upgrade and downgrade to his projectiles. This does give him the ability to do his projectile super in the air, which is a decent little buff. As you can see, he can't normally do it. He's normally not allowed. This is a ground only move, so at least that's something that he gets for being in lightning. But something else that he gets for being in lightning is he takes about 25% extra damage, which is not ideal. You can see if he gets hit by this super, he's going to take even more than he did normally. So not great to spend a meter to take more damage, and to arguably, you know, downgrade some of his moves is not great. This also increases his combo ability on the ground. So now he can do full magic series on the ground for 6 hits which is like fine, but you know, he can already do magic series in the air, so I don't really understand why you wouldn't just do an air combo, or why you wouldn't just do, you know, like combo into this super for a massive amount of damage. Instead of using the meter just to power up and hope you get a combo in the future. Doesn't seem great, so I don't really consider that too much of an upside. The increased combo capability that does like no damage doesn't seem important to me. But again, the lightning super is not horrible. It's not good. It's not a good use of meter, but it's not abysmal. But one that is pretty abysmal is actually his fire power up. So right off the bat, big problem with this one, he takes about 50% extra damage. So he goes from having above average stamina to having one of the lowest staminas in the game when he activates fire. Yeah, you can stack it. If you stack it 3 times, he goes back to having, you know, normal HP, so that's fine, I guess. But yeah, you're taking a huge risk just by spending meter on this, and you're not really going to spend 3 meters just to remove that risk. Doesn't seem worth it. Some other things that this does, it makes his normal attacks now do chip damage, so if you really care about that, all of a sudden your opponents will take tiny, minuscule amounts of damage while blocking your attacks. I don't really think that this matters. And similar to the ice super, this is going to replace his good super, the lightning super, with a very trash, useless fire super. This thing is like so hard to land. Doesn't even do that much damage. The lightning super usually does more damage than that. And as you can see, like, the range on this is just, it's like insulting. It's insulting how little this hits. So like, yeah, you can try to combo into this, do a little bit of damage, but it's not really worth spending a meter for, considering all the downsides, including the biggest downside that you're taking a huge amount of extra damage and putting yourself at a huge risk just by using this. So yeah, Silver Samurai I think is a good case of like, if you have a good move that needs meter, you don't want to lose that move. You don't want to lose access to that move, much less spend a meter to lose access to that move. Now having access to a horrible move and taking drastically increased damage from everything. So by using the super, you're essentially asking to die. I very much don't recommend it unless you just want to troll the opponent and style on them, I guess. That's maybe the only upside, is that you can beat someone with a super that actively makes your character worse. So yeah, that's Silver Samurai. All his power-up supers are not great, but this fire one actively just makes him a horrible character. So don't use it, don't recommend it, and let's move on to the next one. All right, next up, we're moving to the future here with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. We're talking about Ryu's Denjin Mode power-up. This is another install, another power-up super that, you know, is not actually that much of a power-up, but I am maybe pushing the limits of this list here because this super is not entirely useless like Silver Samurai's fire mode. There are some uses here. You can use it to cancel pretty much any attack, so, you know, you can create new combos that way. This is also going to give Ryu a speed boost, which is pretty nice. He actually goes decently faster, and this changes his frame data as well, so all his moves become faster, and you can also stack this with X Factor, and he becomes like a real speed demon, or at least as much as Ryu can in this game, where Ryu is kind of whack. You know, he can try his best to be fast. This also upgrades his other supers, so now his Shinku Hadouken is kind of funny. It bounces off the wall now, which is not super useful, but it is highly entertaining. And now his Tatsumaki super now becomes this like crazy hurricane, like a literal hurricane kick, which I'm gonna be honest, is pretty badass. Again, it's not exactly useful. It's not something that people are like relying on to deal damage with Ryu, but it is kind of a neat little thematic touch, I think, that he hasn't really had in any other game. So I do appreciate those aspects of it. But in terms of downsides, there's a couple big ones here. One is he's literally harming himself. So I guess this does apply to the video. In a literal sense, he does take damage while he's in this mode. But don't worry, because you're not going to be taking damage for very long at all. I mean, like, look at how quickly this bar is running down. I'm not even done with this sentence. It's almost insulting to me. Like, okay, I spent the whole meter. You know, I do a sick combo, end it with the super, and then boom, I'm done. I'm out of the mode. It like, you have no time to really take advantage. If you compare it to X Factor, like X Factor 3, you pop it and it's like you're gonna be in X Factor 3 for like the rest of the game. I'm gonna have time to do like 3 power-up supers before X Factor runs out. And X Factor gives you massively increased damage, obviously, as well. So you're gonna kill the opponent crazy fast when you're in X Factor. It's probably an unfair comparison, because X Factor is one of the most powerful mechanics ever, but Denjin mode here for Ryu, definitely not that powerful. Yes, it does have its uses for extending combos. Yes, it does give you access to the Hurricane kick, which is amazingly badass, but it just doesn't seem worth it for me, considering you're already playing a character that is considered low tier. You're really going to spend a meter just to get a couple upgraded supers and a speed buff, that's it. And you take damage while you're doing it, it's not great. So, you know, like, I think Capcom at this point, they had largely figured out what they were doing. They weren't just throwing darts at the wall like they were in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They knew how to make supers that weren't, like, horrendously bad. But yeah, it's definitely not great. And I feel like the self-damage aspect is just insult to injury here. So that's why we're putting Ryu with the Denjin mode on the list for Marvel 3. And speaking of Capcom just throwing darts at the wall with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, let's talk about Servbot. So Servbot is known to be an extremely weak character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He's this goofy little guy that has like no reach on anything, and he really does no damage as well. Like, none of his attacks do any damage, but he does have one thing going for him, which is one of his supers. You can see he has this kind of screen-filling super. It doesn't even do a lot of damage, to be honest, but it does fill up the screen, and it has one nice benefit, which is most of the time, it's actually going to do more damage on block than it does on hit. You can see we are taking chunks off of Cable right now on block, and it's safe. So most characters are not going to be able to punish you for using this. So even though Servbot is one of, if not the worst character in the game, he does have access to this nice little thing. This is like the one thing he has going for him. Not much you can do about this. Even if you block it, you're going to be taking pretty good damage. But one very weird thing about Servbot in this game, he is the only character where his super is tied to what assist you pick. So if you want the good super that I just showed you, you have to pick balance type. So if you pick either of the other 2 assists, you are going to lose access to that good super. The only thing, you know, that he kind of has as an upside is just gone. You can't use it. So if you pick assist type A, you get this lunch rush, which for whatever reason does like no damage on block. I don't know why the flying Servbots deal massive damage on block, but the running Servbots do like nothing. And if you pay attention to what Servbot's doing here, he goes into this long animation at the end where he's punishable the whole time, so the enemy can do whatever attack they want and just kill you if they block this super. He can combo into this. It's probably not going to happen very often, but it is technically possible. It is a very funny combo from his fire breath directly into this super. So there's that. Technically, he can combo into it, but his third super here, which is going to be if you pick anti-air assist type, this is for sure his worst one. You can see he drops the boys on you. Once again, this does like nothing on block. You can see the opponent takes basically no damage on block, so it's not useful for that. It does cover a lot of the screen, but it has some major issues, especially if you pay attention to what Servbot is up to during this. He's not allowed to move until all the other Servbots have left the screen. So as long as we have those little guys on screen, we are trapped in the animation completely at the opponent's mercy for them to come and punish with whatever combo they want. But hey, let's look on the bright side. You can combo into it. Easy combo. Just launch them and do the super. But then look, you're left so unsafe on hit. You're left minus 100 or something on hit. So that's a huge problem. If you're in the corner, you're massively unsafe on hit. They can do whatever they want in exchange for you hitting them with this. Mid-screen, it doesn't even fully combo, you know. They're just gonna get uncomboed and be able to block. So, yeah. So not only is this super so bad, it's basically unusable. You would probably never, ever want to actually use this in a match. But you also lose access to your one good super by picking it. So, you know, this has so many downsides. I don't think you would ever intentionally want to use it. And I'm pretty sure this is the worst super in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. If you guys can think of a worse one, let me know. I know there's like 56 characters in this game. Some of them have like 3, 4, 5 supers. But I think out of all of them, the Servbot dropping dudes from the sky might just be the worst one. But let me know if you guys know of any others. All right, to close things out, I got one more Marvel 3 super for you. I asked some Marvel vs. Capcom 3 players, what is the worst super in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3? And pretty unanimously, most people say that it's this one from Nemesis, which, you know, first of all, I hope I don't get demonetized for this. This is a very nasty super. And you might think to yourself, how is that bad? That did over 50% on Storm. That's pretty good, right? But there's a few things that you need to keep in mind here. First of all, this is the only level 3 on the list so far. So this is costing 3 meters right off the bat. Second of all, you cannot combo into this super. It do not work that way. There's nothing you can do. No combo possibilities. It ain't happening for you, Nemesis. This is a throw super. Okay, it's a throw super, fine. You're not meant to combo into it. You're meant to mix the opponent up. You go in, they don't know if you're going to attack them or if you're going to throw them, and then you catch them off guard with the throw and deal 50%. But there is a major problem. So, let's say, for the sake of argument, that I get close to the opponent. You know, we're playing like the slowest character in the game. But hypothetically, let's say I manage to get in and I go for this super, right? Well, the opponent, they can jump out on reaction to kind of the super like alert noise, like the screen flash and stuff. They have plenty of time to react and jump out, so it doesn't really work as a mix-up. But so maybe we can use it as like a reversal to go through the opponent's attacks. You know, they knock me down, they're pressuring me. Let's try to just level 3 through. No, you just get hit out of it. You lose the 3 meters. That's the worst part. You lose all 3 of your meters. And you just get hit out of it into whatever combo the opponent wants. So, yeah, I know, again, maybe I'm pushing the limits of the premise of this video because this super doesn't literally hurt you for using it. But I can think of basically no reason why you would want to do this. Like, even if you wanted to play Nemesis like a grappler and try to throw the opponent, he has a command grab that doesn't cost any meter. You can just use it. And then, you know, if you want to spend meter, you can combo off the command grab into a combo. So, like, you don't have to use 3 meters to go for a slow throw mix-up that is, like, reactable and has all these major problems. So, yeah, it's really, really sad stuff. So, I think this is probably one of the worst supers I've ever seen. If it costs 1 meter, I could maybe understand an ultra situational command grab super that is not very useful, but maybe 1 in a million games you can find a good use for it, but it costs 3 meters. Oh, man. So, yeah, I felt like they were starting to learn what they were doing in terms of balance in this game, but there's still some amazing stuff that went through the cracks, like this level 3 super. So, with that, we're going to end the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and once again, if you want to see more videos that follow this type of format in the future, let me know down in the comments what games do you think I should cover and what supers have I forgotten that are actively harmful to your game plan. Let me know. And guys, with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.